Alien teacher said. We're the only Deathworlders. She raised her hand. Ever heard the name Earth? Humans had never traveled so far into the galaxy before, and for the first time they were not explorers or soldiers. They were students. Aboard the Starborn Horizon, a sleek vessel designed for interstellar travel, a small group of humans sat quietly, each lost in thought. Among them was Kira, a young woman from Earth, her hazel eyes wide with both excitement and nervousness. She had read stories about alien academies in books and holovids, but nothing compared to the real thing. Around her, beings of all shapes and sizes floated, hovered, or walked. Some had translucent skin that shimmered in shifting colors. Others had multiple limbs or eyes that seemed to see in every direction. Their uniforms bore insignias representing dozens of worlds, and every one of them carried an air of confidence Kira did not yet feel. "Earthlings," a voice said from across the cabin. Kira looked up to see a tall alien with grayish-blue skin and narrow eyes that seemed sharper than any human could naturally have. "Are you ready for the academy?" The tone was curious, but there was a hint of disbelief. Kira swallowed nervously. "I think so," she said. Her voice sounded smaller than she wanted it to. Her companion, Jalen, nudged her. "Don't worry," he whispered. "We've survived worse than this. If we can survive Earth's wilds, we can survive anything." The shuttle shook slightly as it entered the Academy's orbit. Through the window, a colossal structure came into view. It was a mix of crystalline towers and metallic bridges, suspended in space like a city of stars. This was the Interstellar Academy of Survival and Strategy, a place where the galaxy's most dangerous species trained to survive extreme worlds, planets that were deadly, unpredictable, or full of predators. As the shuttle docked, the humans were herded through wide corridors, each lined with displays showing previous champions from different worlds. A large hologram flickered to life, showing a Zathari warrior catching a plasma spear mid-flight. "Only the strongest survive here," the guide said, "or the cleverest." Kira felt her stomach tighten. Humans were known in the galaxy as fragile, delicate creatures compared to the other species that thrived on Deathworlds. Deathworlds were planets with hostile environments, fierce predators, unstable weather, toxic flora, and natural disasters that tested every form of life. No one expected humans to handle it without technology. The humans were led into a massive lecture hall. It was larger than any auditorium on Earth, with seats rising in tiers like a semicircle. The ceiling was a shifting holographic display of galaxies and planets, and the walls pulsed gently with light. At the front, an alien teacher awaited. She was tall and imposing, with green skin and eyes that glowed faintly. Her uniform bore the insignia of the Academy's top instructors. "Welcome," she said, her voice calm but carrying authority. "You are here because the galaxy has sent word. Earth has produced life forms called humans. Until now, none of us have faced a species like yours in our survival trials. You claim to be capable, but we will see if that is true. We train Deathworlders here. We survive where others fail." Kira felt the tension in the room rise. She glanced around at the other students. Some were whispering, laughing quietly, or exchanging curious glances. Many clearly thought humans were a joke, fragile, ill-prepared, unworthy of the title Deathworlder. The teacher continued. "I have seen species endure the lava rivers of Korath, the predator swarms of Zelara, and the radioactive storms of Veon Prime. You humans will have to prove yourselves not only capable but exceptional." She paused and scanned the humans' faces. "Do you understand?" "We understand," Kira said, her voice steadier now. Her peers nodded, though some looked uncertain. "Good," the teacher's glowing eyes flickered. "Then we begin." The first lesson was simple in theory but deadly in practice. Each student was to navigate a virtual simulation of a hostile planet. The holographic landscape expanded across the hall, showing jagged cliffs, dense forests with moving shadows, rivers of molten rock, and skies streaked with lightning. Alien students stepped forward confidently, touching their controls to summon protective shields, teleportation platforms, or energy weapons. When it was Kira's turn, she hesitated. She had no shields, no plasma guns, no instinctual training for combat in extreme environments. But she had something the aliens did not: adaptability. She looked at the terrain, noted the rocks, the patterns of the trees, and the currents in the river. When a holographic predator leapt toward her, she dodged using quick thinking and timing, not technology. She slipped behind a jagged boulder, rolled down a slope, and climbed a tree to find a safe vantage point. The aliens watching gasped. Some muttered in disbelief. No human had ever survived more than the first minute of this particular simulation. Kira felt her heart pound, sweat trickling down her back, but she moved with calm precision. Every step was calculated, every decision instinctive. By the time the simulation ended, Kira was panting, but she had completed it. The teacher's eyes narrowed, not with anger, but with recognition. "Interesting," she murmured, almost to herself. As the students returned to their seats, whispers filled the hall. "Did you see that human?" one alien asked. "How did she?" Kira sat down, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Jalen gave her a thumbs-up, grinning. "See, not bad for an Earthling." The teacher's gaze swept over the humans once more. "You are the only ones I have ever seen survive without the usual aids. Your methods are unconventional." But unconventional can be powerful. Kira felt a spark of pride, tempered by a nagging worry. This was only the beginning. The academy would not get easier. If anything, the challenges ahead would grow deadlier, testing every instinct, every decision, every ounce of courage they possessed. Yet in that moment, she also realized something important. Humans were underestimated. Every alien in the room assumed humans were weak, fragile, and ill-suited for a death world. But they did not yet understand Earth. They did not know the storms, the predators, the earthquakes, or the mountains humans had survived. They had never faced a species that thrived through adaptability and ingenuity rather than raw power. And Kira smiled faintly, knowing that this underestimated species, her species, was just beginning to show the galaxy what it meant to be a true Deathworlder. The lecture ended and the students filed out, their minds buzzing with thoughts of survival, strategy, and competition. Kira lingered for a moment, staring at the holographic galaxy above. She whispered to herself, "Earth made us strong, and now we'll show them." The doors closed behind her, and the next chapter of human survival in the galaxy began. The morning sun, or what passed for a sun in the Academy's orbital dome, cast a pale glow across the vast training grounds. Kira and the other human students arrived early, their footsteps echoing in the metal corridors. Today was the first practical lesson, where theory met the deadly simulations of alien worlds. The whispers of yesterday's performance still lingered. Humans surviving the impossible without advanced alien technology had shocked the other students. Kira adjusted her simple training gear. It was not as flashy as the armor or utility suits the alien students wore. But she did not need flashy, she needed adaptability. As she tightened her laces and checked her pack, she noticed Jalen glancing around nervously. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, his voice low. "As ready as we'll ever be," Kira replied, her tone calm. Inside, however, her heart raced. The humans were about to face the first true survival exercise, a multi-terrain simulation that had defeated even the strongest alien students. The teacher appeared at the far end of the training grounds, her presence commanding attention. Her glowing eyes scanned the group, lingering on the humans. "Today," she began, her voice echoing, "you will face a controlled simulation of a Deathworld environment. Every element will challenge your body, mind, and reflexes. Many species fail before the hour ends. Humans, I expect nothing less than struggle." The other students snickered quietly. Kira felt a small flare of irritation, but she let it pass. She knew their amusement came from ignorance. The simulation chamber opened, revealing a holographic landscape that stretched farther than the eye could see. Jagged mountains rose sharply into the sky, rivers of molten rock snaked through deep valleys, and strange plants moved with a predatory intelligence. Lightning cracked in the distance, and shadows seemed to twist and stretch unnaturally. "This is Zaltharan 9, the teacher explained. "The terrain will shift, predators will appear without warning, environmental hazards will challenge you at every turn. Survive and you will learn, fail and you will learn nothing." The alien students activated their devices, summoning shields, teleportation platforms, and energy weapons. They moved with precision and confidence, as if the planet itself was already familiar to them. Kira studied them quietly. Each action was predictable once she observed patterns. The aliens relied heavily on their devices. She, however, had only her instincts and training. When the simulation began, a massive roar echoed through the chamber. A predator, taller than any human and covered in armored scales, leapt from the shadows. The alien students fired their energy weapons, slowing the creature but not stopping it entirely. Kira acted instinctively. She dodged to the side, rolled behind a boulder, and climbed a nearby cliff, using its uneven surface for cover. She did not rely on technology. She relied on timing, her awareness of the predator's movements, and her understanding of the terrain. Each decision was deliberate but quick. She observed where the predator focused and moved where it could not reach. Minutes passed. The aliens had underestimated the speed and adaptability humans could show. One student, a six-armed warrior from Zorath Prime, froze for a moment, confused as the predator shifted its attention. Another tried to recalibrate their shield, but by the time it activated, the predator had moved unpredictably. Kira's movements were fluid. She used the environment against the predator, causing it to stumble over rocks and fall into a shallow crevice. She climbed higher, gaining perspective. Her plan was not to defeat the creature with force, but to outthink it. By using instinct, observation, and creativity, she turned every danger into an advantage. The simulation continued to shift. Suddenly, the rivers of molten rock began to rise, creating new paths and obstacles. Trees with enormous tendrils tried to trap students as they ran. Lightning streaked dangerously close, forcing the aliens to rely on shields for protection. Kira, however, timed her movements to avoid the strikes, using shadows and natural cover. The other humans followed her example. One of them, Leo, a boy from a harsh desert world, used sand and rocks to distract predators, creating safe paths for others. Another, Mina, climbed trees quickly and used vines to swing across dangerous terrain. Together, the humans worked as a team, improvising and adapting to threats without relying on technology. The teacher watched quietly, her expression unreadable. Her glowing eyes followed Kira, noting each decision, each improvised strategy. She had never seen a species survive this far in the simulation without devices. Other students were panicking, shouting commands, or relying too heavily on gadgets. Humans moved with calm, calculated intuition. After an hour, the simulation ended. Kira and her team stood panting, covered in sweat but victorious. The alien students were shocked. Some looked frustrated, others amazed. The teacher stepped forward, her long fingers folded. "Remarkable," she said slowly. "Humans, you have survived Zaltharan 9 without the usual aids. You relied on instinct, intelligence, and observation. This is unusual." Kira felt a mix of pride and relief. She glanced at Jalen, who was grinning widely. "I told you," he said quietly, "we've survived worse than this on Earth." The teacher continued, addressing the whole class. "Strength alone does not ensure survival. Some species believe technology or brute force can conquer any environment. Humans have shown something different. They adapt, improvise, and anticipate. They survive because they think, not because they overpower." Whispers filled the training grounds. Alien students who had doubted the humans now stared at them with curiosity and, in some cases, respect. The concept of a human as a Deathworlder was no longer laughable. After the exercise, the students gathered in a smaller chamber for reflection. Kira felt a sense of camaraderie growing among the humans. They were small in number, but their resilience and cleverness gave them confidence. Mina spoke first. "Did you see the way the lightning moved? It was almost like it was following a pattern." "Once we noticed it, we could avoid it," Leo nodded. "Yeah, and the predators weren't just attacking randomly. They had habits. Once we observed, we could predict their moves." Kira smiled. "Exactly, that's what we have over them. We notice, we adapt, and we work together. They rely on their gadgets. We rely on each other, and our minds." As the humans shared observations, the teacher remained silent in the corner. She seemed to be thinking, analyzing, perhaps reconsidering everything she believed about humans. For the first time, doubt crept into her confident demeanor. The day ended with another challenge, a smaller one focused on resource management. Students had to find food, water, and shelter in a simulated alien environment while avoiding hazards. The aliens immediately activated their scanners and energy devices. Humans, however, used observation and instinct. Kira found edible plants, filtered water from natural streams, and set up a temporary shelter using vines and branches. She guided her teammates efficiently, teaching them to recognize safe zones and dangerous areas. By the time the exercise concluded, the humans had completed it not only successfully but efficiently. The teacher finally spoke. "You are..." Unusual humans. I have never seen a species thrive in this way. Your survival depends not on strength or technology, but on perception, adaptation, and cooperation. This is noteworthy. The human students exchanged glances, a quiet pride in their eyes. For the first time, they felt that maybe, just maybe, they belonged among the galaxy's Deathworlders. Kira walked back to her quarters, reflecting on the day. She thought about Earth, the deserts, mountains, storms, predators, and harsh winters that had tested humanity for millennia. Everything humans had faced on their home planet had prepared them for challenges like these. They were not the weakest species in the galaxy. They were survivors, thinkers, and adapters. And as the stars shone outside the Academy's windows, Kira knew one thing with certainty. Survival was not just about strength or gadgets. It was about intelligence, observation, creativity, and teamwork. And humans had all of that in abundance. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, harsher environments, and fiercer competitors, but Kira felt ready. If the galaxy wanted to test humans, it had chosen the wrong species to underestimate. Earth had forged them, and now the stars would witness what humans could truly do. The day began with a quiet tension that hung over the Academy like a thin veil. Kira and the other human students gathered in the lecture hall, their faces set with determination. Yesterday's survival exercises had shocked the alien students and even caught the attention of the teacher. Yet despite their unexpected success, the humans still felt the weight of skepticism from their peers. Many aliens had yet to accept that humans could be true Deathworlders. The lecture hall was enormous, with rows that curved like a semicircle. Holographic displays floated above the center platform, projecting rotating images of distant planets and extreme environments. The teacher entered quietly, her glowing eyes sweeping across the room, and every student immediately straightened in their seats. She carried herself with the same authority as yesterday, but there was a flicker of curiosity in her gaze, something different from the usual stern expectation. "Today," she began, her voice calm yet commanding, "we will study adaptation, resilience, and instinct." Many species believe that survival relies solely on strength, speed, or technology. You humans seem to defy that assumption. She paused and allowed the words to sink in. "Tell me, why do you survive when so many others fail?" The room went silent. Alien students exchanged puzzled looks. They were used to survival being measured in physical power or technological superiority. Humans relied on neither. Kira felt the weight of the moment. She knew the truth about humanity, how Earth had shaped them through centuries of challenges, from harsh winters to massive storms, predators, and unpredictable natural disasters. Kira raised her hand, hesitating only for a moment before speaking. "We survive," she said, "because we adapt. We observe, we learn, and we work together. Strength alone is not enough. The galaxy might judge us as fragile, but Earth has made us strong in ways others cannot understand." A ripple of surprise ran through the room. Some aliens whispered, incredulous. One of the six-armed warriors muttered, "But they have no natural defenses." The teacher's eyes narrowed slightly. "Earth, you say?" she asked. Her voice carried a hint of skepticism. "What is it about your world that produces this adaptability?" Kira leaned forward slightly. "Earth is harsh. We've faced earthquakes, storms, predators, and extreme climates for thousands of years. Humans survived not because we were the strongest, but because we learned to be clever. We build tools, create shelter, form communities, and observe patterns in nature. Survival is about understanding your environment, not just overpowering it." The teacher's gaze was steady, almost probing. "And yet," she said, "your species is considered fragile compared to the Deathworlders of other planets. How can you claim true resilience when your physical capabilities are limited?" Kira met her eyes confidently. "Strength is only one part of survival. Intelligence, observation, teamwork, and creativity are just as important. Earth made us survive even when the odds were against us. That is resilience." The alien students remained silent, their expressions a mix of disbelief and curiosity. The teacher continued, her tone sharp but thoughtful. "Interesting. Very well, we shall test your claims. The next exercise will not be a controlled simulation. You will face a real survival scenario in a specially designed environment that mimics extreme Deathworld conditions." The humans glanced at one another. Their hearts pounded with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was no holographic trial. This was real. The teacher led the class to a transport hub, where a shuttle waited to take them to the survival zone. The shuttle was small but sturdy, capable of withstanding extreme planetary conditions. As it lifted off, the vastness of space stretched beyond the windows. The humans felt a strange mixture of fear and anticipation. They had trained on simulations, but now they would face an environment crafted to test every instinct, every decision. When the shuttle landed, the doors opened to reveal a planet like none they had seen. The sky was a deep amber, with twin suns casting long shadows across jagged mountains and vast deserts. Winds howled across the barren landscape, carrying fine dust that stung exposed skin. Strange, twisted plants shifted with a life of their own, and distant roars echoed through the valleys. This was no simulation. It was a real death world designed to challenge even the most experienced alien students. "Survive here," the teacher instructed. "Observe, adapt. Outthink your environment and any predators that appear. We will watch." Immediately, the aliens activated their devices. Shields flickered into existence, energy weapons hummed, and some called upon small drones for reconnaissance. The humans, however, had no such tools. Kira glanced around, assessing the terrain. Her eyes noted every shadow, every movement in the distance, every pattern in the wind. A low growl caught her attention. A predator, long and sinuous with scales that reflected the amber sunlight, slithered through the rocks. It moved quietly but with deadly intent. The alien students fired their weapons, but the predator was fast and agile, dodging energy blasts with unnatural precision. Some aliens froze in surprise, unsure how to respond. Kira did not hesitate. She ducked behind a jagged rock formation and observed. The predator's movements were patterned. It struck after pauses, testing its targets. Using this knowledge, Kira moved carefully, timing her steps between its attacks. She led her fellow humans through the terrain, finding paths of least danger, using rocks, crevices, and natural cover. The other humans followed her example. Leo used the shifting sands to hide footprints and mislead predators. Mina climbed tall, spindly trees to scout ahead and warn of approaching dangers. Together, they functioned as a unit, communicating silently through gestures and subtle signals. Every decision was made with precision, every move calculated yet instinctive. Hours passed, and the aliens continued to rely on their technology. Some shields failed, some drones were destroyed, and some students panicked under the unpredictability of the environment. Humans, however, adapted continuously. When a sudden dust storm arose, they used it for cover, moving unseen while the aliens struggled to recalibrate their sensors. When predators ambushed, they used terrain and strategy to escape without confrontation. Finally, the humans reached a high plateau overlooking a valley filled with dangerous terrain and shifting predators. Kira looked at the other human students, nodding. "We've made it this far because we observe, adapt, and trust each other," she said. "Strength alone won't save them. Intelligence, creativity, and teamwork will." The teacher watched silently from a hovering observation platform, her glowing eyes focused. She could not deny what she saw. Humans thriving where other species relied on technology and brute force, only to struggle or fail. The humans had turned apparent weaknesses into advantages, proving that survival was about more than physical capability. At the end of the exercise, the humans returned to the shuttle. Their bodies were exhausted, but their spirits were high. The alien students followed, some looking humbled, others thoughtful. The teacher finally addressed the class. "Humans," she said slowly, her voice carrying weight, "you have demonstrated an ability to survive and adapt in ways I did not anticipate. Your instincts, observation, and collaboration surpass expectation. Perhaps Earth is not as fragile as we assumed." Kira smiled faintly. She glanced at Jalen and Mina, who returned her expression with quiet pride. "We told you," she whispered to them. "We've survived everything our planet could throw at us. This is just another test." The teacher continued, her gaze shifting to the alien students. "You must learn from this. Strength and technology are not everything. Observation, adaptation, and cooperation are equally vital. Humans remind us of that truth." A murmur spread through the hall. Alien students who had doubted humans began to reconsider. They had witnessed firsthand what Kira and her companions could do. The lesson was clear. Survival was not merely about power, speed, or devices. It was about intelligence, instinct, and unity. As the humans returned to their quarters that evening, they spoke quietly among themselves, sharing observations and insights. Kira reflected on the day, thinking of Earth and all the challenges humanity had faced. Their world had forged them, teaching adaptability, problem-solving, and cooperation in ways no other planet could. She realized something profound. Humanity had not only survived, but had begun to change the perception of what a Deathworlder could be. They were small, perhaps weaker in appearance, but their minds and teamwork gave them a strength that was undeniable. And in the quiet moments before sleep, Kira whispered to herself, "They have never faced a human before, and now they know Earth made us this way. We survive because we must, and we will continue to survive no matter what the galaxy throws at us." The shuttle hummed quietly as it carried Kira and the other students toward the ultimate test. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, indifferent to the struggles of those aboard. The humans sat together, their faces a mixture of excitement and determination. They had proven themselves in simulations and controlled environments, but now the stakes were real. A death world so extreme that even the most experienced alien students hesitated to approach it. The teacher spoke from her observation platform, her voice calm yet commanding. "This is Talmer Prime. The planet's surface is unstable, with violent storms, shifting terrain, and predators evolved to perfection. Survival here is not guaranteed. Only those who can think, adapt, and cooperate will endure. Humans, your previous performances have intrigued me. Let us see if Earth has truly prepared you for this challenge." Kira felt her heart race. The planet below was a jagged mass of mountains, craggy valleys, and dense forests. Smoke and ash drifted from small volcanic vents, while flashes of lightning illuminated the sky. The surface seemed alive, almost as if it were watching the students. The alien students looked tense, adjusting their armor and checking their devices. Many whispered about the dangers, and a few even hesitated at the edge of the shuttle's landing platform. Kira glanced at Jalen and Mina. "Stay close," she said softly. "Observe everything. Nothing is random here." They nodded, understanding that instinct and intelligence would be their greatest allies. The shuttle landed with a controlled thud. The ramp lowered, and the students stepped onto the planet's surface. Immediately, the wind lashed at them, carrying ash and dust. The ground beneath their feet trembled slightly, as if warning them to tread carefully. Kira inhaled slowly, letting her senses adjust. Every detail mattered: the movement of the ash, the shifting rocks, the sounds of distant predators. "Begin," the teacher's voice commanded. The students scattered across the terrain. Alien students relied heavily on their devices. Energy shields flickered into existence. Scanning drones buzzed around them, and holographic maps projected safe paths. Humans, as always, had none of these tools. Kira scanned the environment, noting the safest routes, potential hazards, and likely predator paths. A sudden roar echoed from the forest. A massive creature emerged, taller than any human or alien student, with claws capable of crushing rock. It moved with surprising speed, eyes fixed on the nearest target. The aliens immediately activated their weapons, but the creature was fast and unpredictable. Kira pulled Jalen and Mina behind a ridge. "Watch its pattern," she whispered. "It tests before striking. Use the terrain to your advantage." They moved carefully, timing each step with the predator's movements. When the creature lunged, Kira rolled behind a boulder, using it as cover. She noted how the predator adjusted to the terrain and began predicting its attacks. With careful coordination, the humans led it into a natural trap, a volcanic fissure that partially contained its movements. It roared in frustration but could not follow them further. Other humans observed and adapted similarly. Leo used a series of small rocks to create noise, distracting predators and guiding them away from the group. Mina climbed trees to scout and relay warnings. The humans functioned as a unit, each movement calculated and deliberate. Meanwhile, many alien students struggled. Their devices failed under the planet's extreme conditions. Shields flickered, scanners malfunctioned, and drones were destroyed by sudden ash clouds. Panic spread among some, while others tried to recalibrate their technology, wasting precious time. Hours passed. The humans had already navigated hazardous terrain, avoided predators, and discovered temporary safe zones. They found fresh water, edible plants, and shelter using natural formations. Their success was not based on strength or technology, but observation, intelligence, and teamwork. Kira paused at the edge of a cliff, looking down at a valley filled with shifting lava flows. "We need a plan to cross that safely," she said. She noticed a series of rocks partially submerged in hardened lava, forming a precarious path. "We can use those, but carefully. Watch each step and signal if you need help." One by one, the humans crossed the path, moving with balance, precision, and coordination. A sudden tremor caused a rock to shift, but quick thinking saved them. They grabbed each other's hands, forming a chain and adjusting their footing together. By the time they reached solid ground, the alien students were struggling to even find a safe path through the valley. The day continued with new challenges. Violent storms swept across open plains, giant plants snapped at moving targets, and volcanic vents released bursts of molten rock. Each test was met with human ingenuity. Kira and her team used natural cover, created distractions, and anticipated dangers. They moved silently, leaving no trace for predators to follow, and always communicated through subtle signals. The teacher watched from above, her expression unreadable. She had expected humans to survive through luck or happenstance, but she saw something far more impressive. Humans not only survived, they adapted, overcame, and thrived. Their methods were different from the aliens, but the results were undeniable. By late afternoon, the humans reached a central plateau, overlooking the harsh landscape they had traversed. They were tired, their bodies sore, but their minds were sharp. The alien students were scattered, many exhausted, some injured, and several defeated. The humans had made it farther than most species could in this environment. Kira turned to her team. "We've done well, but stay alert," she said. "The planet isn't done testing us. We need to find a proper shelter before nightfall." Predators and storms become more dangerous in darkness. Using observation and instinct, the humans located a natural cave system partially protected by rock formations. They reinforced it with fallen branches and vines, creating a safe area to rest. Fires were started carefully, using sparks from rocks instead of flammable materials, minimizing visibility to predators. The teacher's voice echoed through the observation platform. "Humans, you have demonstrated resourcefulness, intelligence, and teamwork far beyond expectation. You do not rely on raw strength or technology. You adapt, observe, and overcome. This is true survival skill." Kira allowed herself a small smile. For the first time, she felt that the teacher recognized what humans had always known. Earth had forged them to survive, and no environment, no matter how deadly, could break them. Night fell on Talmor Prime. The winds howled, predators roamed nearby, and volcanic tremors shook the ground. The humans remained alert, taking turns keeping watch while others rested. They communicated silently through signals, anticipating each hazard. Every member of the group contributed their knowledge, ensuring that no one was left vulnerable. The teacher observed silently from above, taking note of every movement. She had expected chaos, failure, and reliance on devices, but instead saw precision, collaboration, and intelligence. The humans had transformed what others saw as weakness into unparalleled strength. As dawn approached, the humans emerged from the cave, ready to continue the journey. They had survived the night, navigated the deadly landscape, and faced extreme predators, all without relying on advanced technology or brute force. Their survival was a testament to observation, teamwork, and adaptability. The teacher finally addressed the entire class. "Today, humans have shown what it truly means to survive a death world. Strength and weapons are not enough. Intelligence, instinct, observation, and cooperation are equally vital. You humans have proven that survival does not depend on the tools you carry, but on how you think, act, and work together. You are, without doubt, Deathworlders." Whispers spread among the alien students. Skepticism had turned into awe. The lesson was clear. Humans had survived, thrived, and even excelled where others had struggled. Their methods were unconventional but effective beyond measure. Kira and her team exchanged quiet smiles. They had proven something not only to the teacher and the other students, but to themselves. Humanity's resilience, intelligence, and ability to adapt could conquer any challenge. Earth had prepared them, and the galaxy would soon understand the true meaning of a Deathworlder. As the shuttle prepared to return the students to the academy, Kira looked back at Talmor Prime. The planet had tested them, pushed them to their limits, and yet they had emerged stronger. She whispered to herself, "Earth made us this way." And now the galaxy knows humans survive. The Academy's central hall was alive with activity. Students from countless worlds gathered to witness the final ceremony, a celebration of survival, skill, and achievement. Holographic banners floated in the air, displaying the names of those who had completed the most challenging trials. Alien species of every shape and size filled the seats, their eyes curious, skeptical, or, in some cases, full of admiration. Kira and the other humans walked through the hall, their steps confident but measured. They had survived Talmor Prime, an environment so hostile that many of the galaxy's strongest species had failed. They had done it without shields, weapons, or advanced technology. All they had relied upon was their instinct, intelligence, teamwork, and the lessons learned on Earth. Whispers spread quickly among the students. "They survived Talmor Prime?" one asked, eyes wide. "Without devices, how?" Another muttered, "Humans, they are different. Stronger in ways we never imagined." The humans took their places near the front of the hall, standing together as a small group. Kira glanced at Jalen, Mina, Leo, and the others. They were exhausted but proud. Their survival had not been easy. Every step, every decision, every breath on Talmor Prime had tested them to the limit. Yet here they were, alive and undefeated. The teacher entered, her presence commanding silence. Her green skin glowed faintly under the hall's light, and her eyes, as always, seemed to see everything. She paused before the human group, her gaze steady and thoughtful. "Students," she began, her voice echoing clearly, "we have gathered to recognize those who have proven themselves capable of surviving the galaxy's most dangerous environments. Many species have attempted the trials and failed. Some relied on strength, some relied on technology. Few relied on intelligence, observation, and cooperation. And now, humans, you have demonstrated all these qualities in ways I did not expect." The hall fell silent. All eyes were on the humans. Kira felt her heart beat faster, but she remained calm. She knew what they had accomplished. They had survived not by chance, but by using every tool they possessed, their minds and their unity. The teacher continued, "For too long, your species has been underestimated. Others believed that humans were fragile, unfit for survival in extreme conditions. They have been wrong. You have turned weaknesses into strengths. You have shown adaptability, creativity, and courage. You are not only survivors, you are Deathworlders in every sense of the word." A murmur of approval spread through the hall. Alien students, some skeptical and some genuinely amazed, began to nod in recognition. They had witnessed humans surviving conditions that had defeated their best-trained peers. Respect had replaced doubt. Kira stepped forward slightly, her voice calm but firm. "We did not survive Talmor Prime because we are the strongest or because we had the best tools. We survived because we work together. We watch, we learn, we adapt. Earth taught us that survival is about intelligence, instinct, and unity. These lessons are not unique to humans, they are universal. But they are what make us capable, what allow us to face challenges that others may not survive." The teacher's eyes flickered with a faint glow, her expression softening. "Well said, Kira. Your words are as impressive as your actions. Humans have shown that survival depends not only on physical strength or technological advantage, but on mental acuity, observation, and cooperation. This is a lesson the galaxy would do well to remember." The ceremony continued, and the humans were formally recognized as full Deathworlders. Holographic symbols of achievement floated around them, each representing their survival, teamwork, and ingenuity. Other students approached cautiously, offering nods, handshakes, and gestures of respect. Some asked questions about how humans had navigated Talmor Prime without technology. Others wanted to learn their methods for observation, adaptation, and collaboration. For Kira, this recognition was satisfying but not surprising. She had always known the truth about humans. Their world had forged them to survive, endure, and thrive. Earth's challenges, storms, predators, deserts, mountains, and harsh winters, had prepared humanity for environments far beyond their home planet. They had learned to work together, to think quickly, and to innovate in the face of danger. Talmor Prime was only another stage for those skills to shine. As the ceremony concluded, the teacher addressed the entire hall one final time. "Let this be a reminder to all species, never underestimate the underestimated. Every life form has strengths, even when they appear fragile. Humans have proven that true survival is about more than power. It is about intelligence, perception, and cooperation. Today, you have all witnessed what it means to be a true Deathworlder." The hall erupted in applause. Alien students who had doubted humans before now offered nods of respect, some even clapping loudly. The humans shared quiet smiles. Their journey, full of challenges and uncertainty, had earned recognition and respect. Later, in the quiet of their quarters, Kira and her team reflected on the trials. "We've done it," Mina said softly, a tired but proud smile on her face. "We survived the most extreme challenges and we've shown them what humans can do." Leo nodded. "They thought we were weak. Fragile, but we proved them wrong. Not with weapons, not with gadgets, but with our minds and our teamwork." Jalen laughed softly. "And a little luck," he said, though everyone knew it had been more than luck. It had been strategy, instinct, and cooperation. Kira looked out the window at the stars beyond the academy. "This is just the beginning," she said. "The galaxy may still doubt us, but we've made them see. Humans survive because we must. That is something no one can take away." As the night settled over the academy, Kira felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humanity had claimed a place among the galaxy's strongest, not through brute force or alien technology, but through the qualities that made them unique: adaptability, intelligence, and cooperation. They had proven that even a species considered fragile could overcome extreme environments and emerge victorious. The teacher entered the room quietly. She observed the humans with a thoughtful expression. "You have exceeded every expectation," she said softly. "Your methods are unconventional but effective beyond measure. I have underestimated humans for too long. Now I understand. You are remarkable." Kira smiled faintly. "Thank you, Earth made us this way," the teacher nodded. "And now the galaxy will know." As the humans prepared for rest, they spoke quietly among themselves, sharing observations and insights from their experiences. They understood that survival was a continuous learning process. Every planet, every environment, and every challenge required new strategies, but the foundation of human resilience remained the same. Kira closed her eyes, thinking of the journey that had brought them here. From Earth's deserts and forests to the Academy's deadly simulations, humanity had faced obstacles and emerged stronger. Talmor Prime had tested them in ways no other species could imagine, and they had survived. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to prove themselves. But for now, humanity had earned recognition, respect, and a place among the galaxy's true Deathworlders. They had shown that survival was not about strength alone. It was about intelligence, observation, cooperation, and the unyielding will to endure. And as Kira drifted to sleep, she whispered quietly to herself, "Earth made us strong. And no matter where the galaxy leads us, we will survive." The stars outside the Academy's windows shimmered, silent witnesses to humanity's triumph. The humans had arrived as underdogs, underestimated and doubted. But they had proven, through ingenuity and heart, that even the most fragile-seeming species could claim victory in the harshest environments. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson: never underestimate humans. Humanity's journey was far from over. Challenges would continue, dangers would arise, and the galaxy would test them in ways yet unknown. But Kira and her team knew the truth that had carried them this far. As long as humans relied on observation, intelligence, and teamwork, there was no obstacle they could not overcome. And with that knowledge, humanity's place among the stars was secured, respected, recognized, and ready for anything the universe could throw their way.